I'm Watty from Exploited, and you're watching Steelworks.
Hello, my name is Ron Correa and I welcome you to the second episode of Steelworks. COVID-19 put a halt to what I would have loved to be a periodical video show, which is why it took me 2 years to get back. Now that live shows and fests are back, so it Steelworks, as what I really love doing is attending shows, reporting them, and occasionally interviewing bands, and share the results with you. Please hit the subscribe button, leave your comments, and share the word. In this episode, I am reporting the Lisbon leg of the Real Punk Rock Tour, which is a set of 29 dates that combines the Exploited, the Casualties, and Lion's Law on the same stage. Like it or not, this episode was made possible only thanks to LX's agency, a very active and well-reputed show agency, record company, and merch store in Portugal. LX focuses mostly on anything rock and roll, be it punk, hardcore, or metal. Do check LX's online store and you'll find the very best on offer from Portuguese and international extreme music. So, on with the show. The Exploited are well known for its commitment to the punk cause and scene since way before many of us were even born, so it's no wonder that as soon as the world opened its doors again, the band took the opportunity to get back on the road and tour across Europe, the United States and South America. One of the first dates was in Lisbon, so I was quite happy to watch the band again. Supporting them on stage in the ongoing tour are the Casualties and Lion's Law, like I said, so I was expecting a bit of the good old ultra-violence. The Parisian Oi, Lion's Law, set up the hostilities in good shape. It's clear to see why it's one of the most respected European names after only 10 years of existence. The band started with PBS and The Reaper, both off of their 2020 album The Pain, the Blood and the Sword. Due to COVID, many bands these days promote their latest albums that were released 2 or 3 years ago, which is something a bit unusual. But then again, it's great to see them returning to the stage, so that's that. The band interacted way too well with the Portuguese audience in Portuguese, so some of the public was glad to hear them. After revisiting a bit of their whole career, they ended with For My Clan, which is the anthem off of their debut album. It was a solid show, to be honest. It had great interaction with the audience, like I said, albeit a good amount of the audience, the public, were attending a Lion's Law show for the first time, which, well, didn't help that much. All in all, the French led the way for what was to become one of the most intense tours I have ever attended. And the ones to blame for all that are, no doubt, New York City's finest, the Casualties. This was my first The Casualties show. I'm a metal guy that likes his punk, but I barely have the time to pay attention to what's going on in metal due to the massification of the scene, let alone to punk, which is why I got a punch in the nuts watching this show. I mean, I knew that the Casualties were on top of the food chain when it comes to punk, but I didn't expect and didn't know how much of a punch they packed live. After the show, I was certain of one thing. Metalheads think they're pros, hardcore fans are pros, and punks are the ones that sign off pro certificates, to say the least. Much like Lion's Law, the band started with 1312 off of their latest Written in Blood from 2018. Now, you know that feeling that you get when you listen to a song for the first time and it hits you like a ton of bricks? Yeah, that's basically 1312 for you, with its fast pace, catchiness, and hardcore choruses. After that one, I was hooked, and the Casualties just got a new fan. Then came Chaos Sound, followed by the classic For the Punks off of their first album. In 34 years attending metal and hardcore shows, I had never seen such a wild audience ever. At some point, there were some 25 plus people on stage, and the tsunami of bodies got to a point where I wasn't sure anymore if the show would or could go on. Silly me. I am not sure about how iconic Georgie Herrera was, but I know that new frontman David Rodriguez is a beast on stage and off it. He sang with the audience on stage and in the pit. He promoted circle pits and 2 walls of death. He stage dived, he crowd surfed. I mean, this guy is the real deal. At the end of the day, the Casualties were numero uno, and I was sincerely hoping that things couldn't escalate anymore after this one. But I was wrong. Enter the Exploited and its decades-old aura. If you don't know who the Exploited are, or if at least you've never heard of them, it's one of the last surviving real punk bands out of the UK. I mean, I was like 2 years old when the band formed, right? I was drawn to the cover and title of their classic Death Before Dishonor album in 1988, and I was like, okay, it's not bad, but it's also not metal, so meh. I bought the follow-up, The Massacre, in 1990, and The Massacre changed everything, as this album is paramount to help define crossover thrash. And I was like, wait a minute, this is punk, but it's also speed metal, and it's hardcore as well. I mean, this is sick. And I've been a fan ever since. Saying that the Exploited played this classic or that classic song is silly. They're all classics, right? The show started with Wattie faking a heart attack, much to the delight of the sold-out packed house, and then came Let's Start a War, which it always does. From minute one, the public didn't give an inch in support of the Scots, who rendered Dogs of War, UK 82, Chaos Is My Life, Dead Cities, Troops of Tomorrow, Beat the Bastards, Fuck the System, Fuck the USA, Sex and Violence, which yet again saw plenty of people hopping on stage, much like what happened with the Casualties and Punk's Not Dead. I mean, it's the very least you could expect from the Exploited. It's chaos and confusion everywhere. It was ever present during the show. And while I thought this performance couldn't top the one of the Casualties, to be honest, it exceeded it. And it wrapped it with a pink, if not a punk, ribbon. To be honest, I decided not to go to the ground floor, as I would risk damaging my camera and other equipment, and it was a smart move. This is what you expect to see for your money, you know, honesty, buckets of sweat, and full dedication to the cause. Don't dare missing this ongoing tour if you can, since it's worth every penny. I mean, beg for it, borrow it, steal it, but be there. Until the next episode, I will leave you in another video on the page, the interview I did with Wattie of The Exploited. So until then, horns up and stay heavy.